Hello my tarot friends, welcome to yet another episode in our Under the Magnifying Glass series where we are looking at the Herbcrafters Tarot. Today we are going to be looking at the Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune and Justice cards. First I'm going to share with you what each cards represent in tarot in general, and then I'm going to share with you what I discovered when I journeyed into each of these cards, and then at the very end I will share with you what it says in the guidebook. Now let's just start, shall we? The Hermit in Tarot represents your guiding light. It's all about withdrawing from the outer world, seeking time for introspection. The Hermit helps us find a deeper meaning in our lives. Number 9 is the number of completion, breakthroughs, and initiation. The Hermit is the inner light within you who brings spiritual wisdom that comes from the heart. The Hermit represents guidance through dreams, visions, archetypes, angels, and spiritual guides or teachers. The journey that the Hermit takes you on must be taken alone to truly understand self-love and living it. Their guiding light assists you through the dark times of questioning your life and actions. The Hermit calls for a time of realignment with your inner self, discovering your spiritual self and beliefs and how they are reflected in the outer world. And now let me share with you what I noticed when I journeyed into this card. The first thing that stood out for me were all the feathers that we see on this picture, and especially the big owl's feather on the bottom stood out for me. And I know that the owls are known for spiritual wisdom that comes from going through some dark times. We can see pine cones stuck in this nest. And to me, pine cones give a feel of an old wisdom. Like, when you step into the pine forest tree, it has that energy that is quite dark but very spiritual at the same time. We can notice some red rose hips stuck here as well. And that I connect to the root chakra, which to me speaks about grounding that is needed. Perhaps even rerouting ourselves, realizing what are the roots of our question and where does it stem from. The nest feels like a closed space, and inside of it we see a candlelight. And I think it is important that it comes from the center of it. It feels like the center of a human being is that light, and it is the heart, because the heart chakra is in the middle of all 7 chakras. I noticed 3 quartz crystals above, and on the bottom we have the owl's feather, like I said before. And perhaps this means that when you have a clear mind, because it's clear quartz, and that from that clear mind that comes the wisdom, or way around, from the experiences that bring us wisdom also bring us a clear mind. Again, be kind of like as above, so below. This nest and everything else is placed on the snow. The snow technically is ice, right? And I play with the word of isolation here, being isolated, that the Hermit card is all about. And now let's look what it says in the guidebook. I'm not sure how to pronounce this plant species, Usnea. Withdraw into sacred solitude. Gather treasures from the darkness. Emerge within the light. In the guidebook it says that the candle is lit in the middle as the offering, which is very interesting. Rest and stillness are good medicine. Go within and listen for your own voice. Clarity is found in places empty of others' thoughts and ideas. Usnea, also called old man's beard, grows long and healthy on trees where the air is clean. Find your mountain. Ask for guidance from nature. There are many gifts to be gathered in the dark times. Rose hips, cottonwood, and pine cones amongst them. See, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Seek understanding from the allies you encounter during your time alone. A reliable fire starter. Usnea may save a life on a cold night, just as the perfect insight can warm a dying soul. Wow, just as the perfect insight can warm a dying soul. When you are ready, let wisdom glow. Wow, that was a very spiritual and deep entry into this guidebook. Crafting with the Hermit, I like 2 here. So keep Usnea on your dashboard to remind you to slow down. And the second one is create a wisdom nest. Add allies and symbols that guide your quest for understanding. It's similar to a vision board, kind of, again. I like that. So when you do something physically, I feel it's then easier to implement these things actually in your life. Now let's go to the Wheel of Fortune, which is represented by the kitchen garden. So in tarot in general, the Wheel of Fortune represents cycles of life and destiny and also fate. It also represents change. Life contains ups and downs. It is a natural cycle. No moment ever stays the same. The Wheel of Fortune is also a karmic wheel of fate. So on the multi-levels of lifetimes, one may be paying a bigger bill this time around than another. 10 is a number of completion and rebirth into a new cycle. It is important to remember that your present actions will affect your life and that of others now and in the future. So this is the law of cause and effect. One needs to stay in the hub of the wheel, because if you stay centered, you can act from a place of a balance rather than a place of reactionary emotions. You might not be in control of the circumstances, but you can be in control of how you react and deal with them. Wheel of Fortune will help you come into your destiny. Now, if we look into this card here, the first thing that I noticed was that it reminds me of the Wheel of Year, and each part of it has different sorts of plants in it. So I assume that these plants can be used at different times of the year. So to me, it feels like one needs to stay flexible and ready, moving with the seasons and not being stuck in one and then waiting 1 year to again enjoy that plant or that herb. The dominant colors here that I noticed are green and purple. And of course, I relate the green to the heart chakra. So coming from your heart and loving and allowing love to flow out and in, but then at the same time, one needs to stay connected to the divine, right? The purple chakra is related to the crown chakra. So following your intuition, listening to the universe's guidance. A circle in general represents cycles and also movement, never-ending change. The directional stones on this specific picture are only seen in the north and in the south, so that I think has a meaning. Perhaps this means that sometimes we are feeling up, when the things are going well, and sometimes everything just goes south, like things aren't so good. But that is the way of life, and it contains both, and it's always changing. Now let's look what it says in the guidebook. Put your faith in the turning of the wheel. Stay centered in the midst of change. Find the medicine unique to every season. Oh, I never noticed that in the middle here is a compass rose. I think that must be significant, the rose, because in the Rider-Waite-Smith, the roses are very important, the red roses, the white roses, etc. The promise of the garden is change. Events may unfold that redirect your path. Some things may feel beyond your control. Find the larger pattern in the chaos. The holy days mark the revolving cycles of nature. They may bring disruption, but they are always reliably in forward motion. When your soul compass spins, find stillness in experience that easily allow you to be yourself. Trust life to come into being, as the plants always do. Oh, I love that, of course, because the plants live and then die, and then they, in the spring they come out of the earth again. There is transformation in each turn of the wheel. What emerges from this development will point to your true north. Wow, I really love this description. It's so cool. Okay, and now crafting. When you need to stay grounded, hold a small round stone in the palm of your hand and breathe. I love that, because those stones that have a little curve in them so you can rub them with your thumb, I really like this type of stones because they're really calming and grounding. So I really like this advice. And now let's look into Justice card that is represented by cannabis. Now in Tarot, Justice represents inner balance. The scales weigh up your heart to the feather, asking the question of how light is your heart or how heavy is your heart. The sword represents the clear mind and power that comes from holding your inner balance. Justice encourages you to look deep inside yourself and identify any contradictions throwing you off kilter. Balancing your intuitive self and spiritual values with the conscious mind and moral values brings inner strength and clarity to make just decisions. 11 is a number of vision, new consciousness, balance, heightened awareness, intuition, and insight. Justice works with all matters of earthly law, cosmic law, and karmic law. With the Justice key, we start to take responsibility for our choices and actions. Justice asks us to review everything with scrutiny. Cross your T's and dot your I's. Now, in this picture here, what I noticed when I journeyed into it. First of all, cannabis is a very controversial plant in the world. In many countries, it is legal, but the medical evidence, shows how cannabis has medical properties on so many layers. The next thing I notice is that we can see many different parts of plant here that can be used as medicine or as a material. So for example, we have hemp seeds here, we have paste, we have buds, we have oil here and here, we have the blossom in the middle, we have rope, we have paper. The next association I had here was that it immediately reminded me of the Seven of Swords card. Why? I don't know, subconsciously. I think it's because of the colors, because we have like these greens and browns, or bronze browns, and white. This is very interesting because the Seven of Air is all about distilling the information, right? So maybe this is a hidden hint to the message about discerning your information about the cannabis, you know? I feel this whole image bears a question, or bears questions. What is your inner moral compass in this situation? What do you believe in, and which information do you trust or truly understand about this? What is the real and trustworthy information? Or not just about this plant, but in general. This plant is just an example here, right? The whole scene looks like it is trying to create a balance on the imbalanced background. So the background looks a little bit chaotic with this paper lying over the other paper, but then they try to balance it. We have seeds on both sides. We have this type of bowl with liquid inside. Here we have oils. Here we have a rope, and then the 7 leaves are placed here around as well. Also 7 leaves, right? Again, a hint to the 7 of Air. Now let's look what it says in the guidebook. Seek the truth. Make informed decisions. Consider the consequences of your actions. I love that. This is literally what this picture is talking about. The personal is political. Clarity and understanding are necessary before making a decision. Until the 1900s, 75% of the world's paper was made from hemp. A campaign targeting people of color criminalized marijuana use and shifted popular opinion, leading to the perception of cannabis as dangerous drug. The loss of valued remedy for pain and mental illness, as well as a sustainable source of clothing and paper, is minor compared to the continued impact the campaign has on people of color. The recent legalization of marijuana further complicates the issue. The unfolding story of cannabis teaches about imbalances of power. This is such a powerful card in this deck. It's incredible. And I love the fact that they speak about the real issues behind this whole. When life asks for your ruling, arm yourself with information from all sides. Stand on the side of truth and fight for what is right. Now, doesn't this speak about 7 of Air? I mean, incredible how this deck has these subtle hints across the cards, and it doesn't even mention it in the book. But if you study these cards like for a long time, you will see these connections between the cards just naturally, with the use of color and the use of numbers of the objects on the cards. Wow, yet another 3 powerful cards in this deck. I really enjoyed looking into these 3. What are your thoughts on these cards? Have you noticed something that I didn't? Did you find this information interesting? Did you learn something new? Please let me know in the comments below. I always love reading them. I hope you have a wonderful time wherever you are on this beautiful planet, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.